I want to be a sci-fi fantasy writer, to write fiction that changes people, that expands their minds, alters the way that they see the world, the way they see themselves. Problem is, if I can't even force myself to make a TBR, stick to it, and then go through it, I'm probably never going to write a book. Hi, I'm Matt. Welcome to the channel. I have this problem where I want to read everything, write everything, do everything, be everything, learn everything all at the same time, and the result is that I end up stuck, paralyzed, and I don't end up doing anything. So here's the solution: constraint and discipline, which are two skills that I very clearly have underdeveloped. How in the hell can it be the case that 5 books will determine whether I become a sci-fi fantasy writer or not? That seems like a lot of pressure to put on 5 books. You're right, but it's not necessarily about the books themselves. The point of this is to start something and actually finish it, which I just am really bad at. I've only started reading a couple of years ago, which is about the same time that I decided that I wanted to be a writer. I've collected somewhere around 300 books, and the number I have read all the way through is... Typically, what happens is I'll have a bunch of books that I want to read, I'll commit to one in my head, and then I'll think, but no, actually, I also want to read these other 5 books over here, typically more than 5. And when I'm writing a book, or trying to write a book, I'll have some ideas, and I'll think they're great, but then I'll think, what about these ideas over here? I mean, there was a period of time, probably a year or two ago, where I, for months on end, was coming up with dozens and dozens of book ideas per week, sometimes even per day. Like, it was at the point where I was completely manic. So every idea that I thought I would settle on would either get replaced by a new shiny idea that seemed better, or as I learned more about something that I was researching, I was like, well, no, actually, maybe this idea is better. And then I started trying to cram every single possible idea into this mega Goliath series, and I did like several outlines, and I just couldn't settle on anything. And the thing is, that's the same experience I have with reading. The stack that you're seeing on screen right now is the stack that I was reading at the same time in the same reading session every day, which lasted a few weeks, and then, well, lo and behold, I couldn't sustain that either. Before we get to the 5 books, let's lay a few ground rules. 1. I must finish each book before moving on to the next one. 2. Under no circumstances am I allowed to switch or swap any of the books, no matter how compelled I feel to. We're back. 3. To finish a book, and this is the interesting one, means not only to complete it from start to finish, which that's hard enough as it is, but the point is I'm trying to extract real value from these books and hopefully share it with you. So that means I have to produce at least one video either about or related to in some way the book that I'm reading. Whether it's something that I can learn from it, that it taught me as an aspiring writer to make me write better books, whether it's just thoughts that I have about the book, its concepts, its structure, or how it relates to other books and other ideas, and what insights I gain from it. So if I make content around those general principles, that counts as finishing the book. This is where the accountability comes in, because if I don't finish the book, then you as the viewer, as my audience, are there to keep me accountable. I need to immerse myself in the best, and I need to learn from it. I need to find out what about it conceptually, structurally, what is it about the writer's process and intentions that made the book so profound or entertaining or enjoyable or something that sticks with people. So the 5 books I've chosen are designed to make me a better writer and or make me see the world through a different lens. So I have gone a little easy on myself. I've tried to diversify the 5 books to match my taste as much as possible, although it does bias quite a bit towards sci-fi. I guess I'm in a bit of a sci-fi phase at the moment. So I'm actually currently reading Sun Eater, so it's one of these rare instances where I am actually able to finish books and even a series. So I'm on Ashes of Man currently. So I do have Disquiet Gods on the shelf right over there. So I'll be finishing Ashes of Man and Disquiet Gods before I move on to the 5 books in this list, because it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to make a video saying to you how difficult it is for me to start things and finish them, and then start something only to not finish it. Doesn't make a ton of sense. Without further ado, let's get into the 5 books. At number 1, there's a book that I've been very excited to read for months, and that is Hyperion by Dan Simmons. So Hyperion is one of those books that I know roughly some details about the concepts, enough to grip me. I know something about the story structure. So the concepts and the story structure are something that I'm going to really delve into deeply on this one. It's got a lot for me to chew on. Also, another thing about all of these books is that I purposefully tried to know as little as possible going in. I know just enough about them to know that there's something of value to be gained, but not enough to ruin the reading experience for me. So I'm not going to give you a full breakdown of these books. We'll save that for after I've actually read them. Next up, we have Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy. So this one is very interesting to me because I've heard that Judge Holden is one of the most brutal, nihilistic, evil villains in all of fiction, and done so quite tastefully despite how brutal it is. So really this would be fascinating to kind of explore philosophically how evil can a human actually be without flinching from it, and also kind of the philosophy of nihilism explored through narrative. That's not something I've necessarily experienced so upfront in the story. Next is Book of the New Sun by Gene Wolfe, Volume 1, which is the SF Masterworks edition that collects the first 2 books, and this is really the intellectual challenge of the bunch. Next up, this is arguably the one that I'm most excited to read on this list, and that is Blind Sight by Peter Watts. So I've got this in a collected volume of the first and second book, which is Echopraxia. The series is called Firefall. The thing that really got me excited about this book is that I actually watched Bookpilled, great channel, check him out, about his thoughts on Blind Sight. I think it was on one of his top 15 favourite sci-fi novels videos from a couple of years ago, I believe. Yeah, so he said that the ending was one of the most kind of mind-blowing endings kind of associated with consciousness, which I find extremely fascinating, as is. A lot of the comments agreed with him, saying that it's made them think about the world in a completely new way. More specifically, it's made them think about consciousness in a new way. Nice. Years after reading the book. Now, that sort of high concept sort of thing is my bread and butter. I absolutely am enthralled by those sorts of things. At number 5, we have the odd one out of the bunch, which is The Will of the Many by James Arlingston. The Will of the Many by James Arlington. This one is really quite different from the others, and that's because I wanted something that was thoroughly enjoyable, something that would make this first initial 5 books a little bit easier, and also something that I can mine for story structure and archetypes. This is kind of one of those books that achieves those, from what I've heard, highs and enjoyment and reader satisfaction that Red Rising or a Brandon Sanderson novel hits. Now, I've read The Final Empire and I have read 5.5 books of Red Rising, thoroughly enjoyed both of them, and I thought I've got quite a lot of high concept stuff in there, so why not ground it with something a little more visceral and a little more blood pumping and action packed. And that concludes it. The 5 books that I am dedicated to once I've finished the Sun Eater series. Well, not really finished because there is another book on the way, but you know what I mean. If you'd like to follow me on this journey, then please do hit the subscribe button and the bell notification. Drop a like on the video as well, it will help an absolute ton. And if you were watching this video and you thought some of the problems that I was having that I described earlier made you think, hey, that kind of sounds a little bit like me, then maybe you should actually give this a go. Whether it's the 5 books that I've chosen or 5 books of your own choosing, or maybe you want to do a little bit less or a little bit more than 5 books, just lock them in. Comment down below, let me know which books you've chosen, and then I and the other people in this little community that I'm trying to build can keep you accountable as well, and you just let us know how it's going, keep us updated. I guess that concludes it for this first video. Outro.